All right. Today we are on ACT Prep Unit 1, Pre-Algebra 1 topics. And for day 2, we are talking about whole number computation. So, for whole number computation, it says follow these steps to add, subtract, multiply, or divide whole numbers. They want you to estimate first, and then compute, and then check your answer to make sure that it's reasonable. Estimating is going to help you avoid computational errors. But again, in an ACT type situation, you've got 1 minute per question. And with whole number computation and a calculator, the biggest thing you got to make sure of is that you type very, very carefully, especially if you're not going to estimate first. Okay, so you just take your calculator. I mean, in the old days, you'd have to do this by hand. But again, there's no way you can do this kind of math by hand in a minute or less. Okay, so we use our calculator. So you just make sure that when you type them in, that you're very, very careful on. What I do is I always make sure once I type it in, I get the answer, I go back and I check and I make sure that I didn't screw up how I typed my numbers in. Okay, because especially when you're in a hurry and you're not estimating, so you're not kind of got an idea of what your answer should be around. Okay, it's just make sure that when you get done, you check really closely that you typed everything properly. Okay. All right. When you have your order of operations, your calculator will, if you're using the TI-84, that will follow order of operations. If you were doing this by hand and you didn't have the graphing calculator, you would have to type each step according to PEMDAS. You'd have to multiply this first and get that answer. Then you'd have to divide this and get that answer. And then you'd subtract on the end. With the TI-84, it knows its order of operations. It knows it has to do parentheses first, then exponents, then multiply and divide left to right, then add and subtract left to right. Again, if you have the TI-84, if you type it exactly the way it's written, you should be fine. Okay? So you try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 271. It says at Emily's auto repair shop, the mechanics work on both foreign and domestic cars. During 1 year, 1,974 foreign cars and 2,245 domestic cars were repaired. How many more? That suggests subtraction. How many more domestic cars than foreign cars? So they're telling you to take domestic, which is this one, minus the, what are they? Foreign, which were, there was your foreign cars. So some people would screw up and they don't think about it has to be the domestic minus the foreign because that's what they said. Okay, but if you just type your subtraction and you get a negative number, I mean, that's not a choice, so it's not that big of a deal. But again, just think logically. You're finding out how many more of these. If there's more, then that should be positive, not negative. So watch the order you subtract in. That will give you a positive or a negative, depending on the order you type it. Okay, so these are just practice ones. So what I'm going to do is give you a second. I'd hit pause, type them in, get your answer, and then compare them to mine and just make sure that you typed them right. I mean, this is just calculator work. Again, just make sure that check your answers against my answers, and if you didn't get my answers, then check how you typed yours against how I typed mine and see where you made your mistake. Okay, this is just, like I said, calculator work. Okay, same thing with multiplication and division. All right, I'd hit pause, hit pause, type these in, get your answers, and then see if your answers match mine. Like I said, this is just calculator work. So if you didn't get these answers, that's why I showed my screen and how I typed, so you could see if you typed it bad or whatever. Okay? All right, you try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 132. So it says there are 11 players on each, that's a multiplication word, of 12 teams in a tournament. What is the total? That means they're trying to tell you to multiply or to find the total of 11 players on 12 teams each. So that would indicate multiplication, which gives me 132. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 9. It says a group of 36 friends take a trip. If they travel with 4 people in each car, how many cars do they need for the trip? Okay, this word does usually means multiply. But in this case, they're saying there's 36 total and 4 people can go in 4 in each car. So you need to know how many people will go in each car if you split this by 4 people. So 36 divided by 4 means 9 people. 9 cars. Okay. Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 49. It says Andy is 27 years old. Drew is 5 years, so Andy is 27. Drew is 5 years younger than Andy, which would be 27. It says, what is the sum of their ages? So they're telling me to take Andy's age plus Drew's age, and that will give me the sum of their ages. Well, Andy is 27, plus Drew is 27 minus 5, so that equals 49. Okay, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 192. It says if Danny earns $8 per hour, that's a multiplication word, how much money will he make working 24 hours? So it's $8 per hour, and they gave me the number of hours is 24, and 8 times 24 is 192. Okay, hit pause, try this one, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 7. It says Matt averages 26 points a game. If he scores 19 points in one game, how many points from? That means subtract. His average is he. Well, if his average is 26 and he's only at 19, that difference is he's 7 points away. And we have finished with day 2, so I will see you next time for day 3.